This is episode 14 of the SOC Level 2 pathway of TryHackMe, and in this episode we are continuing with our detection engineering module and going into tactical detection. And the tagline says we're going to establish a baseline knowledge of tactical detection, leveraging efficient techniques to bolster your security posture. And this is going to be the contents of the video today. My name is Hank Hackerson, your host for today, and to get more videos like this or to find other videos around topics in ethical hacking and pen testing and all that good stuff, I encourage you to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that you get notified the next time that a video comes out. And if you really want to advance your knowledge base and get access to some serious goodies, I would like to tell you a little bit about Hackaholics Anonymous. The full video right here is on our homepage on the channel, so you can go check out all the perks and everything that comes with it. But the intention here is to make it the premier YouTube community for security professionals and hackers, and I truly mean that. I am very much committed to that. If you ask any of our members, and you can just go check the comment section of some of our posts in the community under the community tab right here, you will see that I do take this very, very seriously, and I've developed a lot of perks for this. It's not just something that we say, hey, you know what, give us some money and thank you so much for being a supporter. There's a lot of serious perks that are given in exchange for your contribution. So I very much would love for you to check it out and see what Hackaholics Anonymous is all about. And if you see some value in it, I would love to welcome you to join our membership community. Now, with that being said, let's actually jump into the video for today. All right, here's the intro. It says you're hired as a security engineer and you want to make a good impression. You've noticed that there's this default rule set available and it has already been enabled. The SOC team seems to function, albeit not as efficiently as you might expect. Then it dawns on you, the default rules just don't cut it. So this scenario is not uncommon. In fact, a common pitfall of modern SOCs today is leaning too much on default rules and settings on the products they deploy, leaving them with security alerts that they don't really add value to the security posture. So the whole idea, the objective for this room, is for us to understand the mindset behind choosing a tactical approach in alerting and detecting threats, IOAs, IOCs, etc. And in the process, we will gain practical experience in setting up a basic tactical detection capability, leveraging techniques used in real-life environments. The prerequisites are, there are no hard prerequisites, there's no links to other rooms or anything, but it would be a good idea for you to have an understanding of navigating the command line and CMD and executing basic commands. And I created this very, very in-depth video on the Linux CLI, the Linux command line interface, and by the time that this video comes out, that should already be up and running, so you should have access to that. And navigating full event log views, that's on the I would say that's a Windows thing, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Don't quote me on that. Event logs for sure are actually, for that phrase, I think is very inherent to Windows environments. So we're going to touch on some of these things, and we're going to touch on the most efficient ways to bolster an organization's security posture by leveraging detection mechanisms and walking the user through setting them up tactically. This should serve as a baseline where the user will be able to learn the basics, implement them in their functions, and make them their truly their own, as it says. This is like a tongue twister right here. And that's it pretty much for our introduction. So let's actually jump into this piece. Unique threat intelligence. So you stumbled upon documentation of a previous incident containing a couple of unique IOCs, indicators of compromise. Unique IOCs of previous intrusions are good examples of threat intelligence as they're traces of the specific adversary that your environment has already faced. And the inclusion of these IOCs in your detection mechanism will help spot re-intrusion of that specific adversary immediately and among others. So for example, we have the file name, which is an executable bad exe69. Then we have the path that it was downloaded to, which is the downloads folder, downloaded from the internet, posing at an installer for application that needs an update. And then you have the DNS IP addresses that are associated with it. So bad3x69connection.io, which is the domain of the source of the malicious file, kindforbad.com, which is a suspicion domain related to this, and then niceconnection.io, which is another domain that's related to the main domain right here. So the screenshots are excerpts from a spreadsheet that contains IOCs that can be integrated with the organization's current detection mechanism. It's more or less the same format that incident responders use as they go through an investigation. Logging in IOCs in a file like this allows for better collaboration among multiple incident responders. It also makes scoping of the incident more effective. More often than not, IOCs lead to more IOCs. In the spreadsheet above, based on the description, the direct indicator found by the authors of the documentation is actually the domain itself. So, however, upon further inspection of the malicious domain, they were able to conclude that 2 other malicious domains recorded as IOCs to the association with the original malicious domain. And to maximize this, we can transform these IOCs into detection rules in a vendor-agnostic format using Sigma. And I think I have already done a video on Sigma. Sigma is an open source generic signature language developed to describe log events in structured format. This allows for quick sharing of detection methods by security analysts. A basic example of how it can be written into a Sigma rule is as follows. So you have the title, executable download from suspicious domains, the status is a test, the description is as such, the author, the date of it, the modified date of it, log source, which is a category of proxy, detection, and it gives you the selection, which is the URI extension, which is an executable, and then the DNS, which is all the different domain names associated with it. Condition is the selection, and fields are CURI, false positives unknown, and the level is medium. So this is a lot, I understand. If you don't know Sigma rules, you probably will have a challenge trying to wrap your head around this. For the most part, everything up to this point is just basic, and it really has not much relevance to the rest of the rule. These pieces right here are the most important parts of the rule. The log source itself is the proxy log. The detection is a selection, which is basically one of the columns or one of the fields. And under the selection field, there is a URI extension. And then that would be the exe. So basically an executable is the extension that it's looking for. And then from there, we have the actual domain names that are attached to it. Sorry about that. Had a call coming in. But yes, so these are the biggest, most important pieces of the Sigma rule. Are essentially the piece that you have under detection, and these parameters under the detection explain what needs to actually happen in order for the rule to be elicited. And so the selection portion of it states what the actual elements of the IOC would be, and then the condition is the selection. So the condition says that when this selection, any portions of this selection are triggered, then I want this rule to go off and then to actually, give us an alert or send us an email, whatever. So that is how that would work. In the grander scheme of things, these layers work together to give your analyst the visibility that they need to spot bad actors. Remember that the bad guys need to circumvent all our defenses in order to get to their objectives, but we only need them to fail one layer of detection to have an idea that they are there. So that is what makes our job a little bit easier than their job, essentially, because as long as they trigger one of the little wires, or they are seen by one camera, so to speak, then we have them. So this is the portion of it right here where it's like if one of these things are triggered, if we notice one of these things, it doesn't have to be all of these things. If one of these things are triggered, we now become aware that they're in our environment, and we can start investigating and watching them and so on and so forth. So here are the questions. What did we use to transform IOCs as detection rules in a vendor agnostic format? And I want to say it's Sigma. Yeah, so what is the original indicator found by the authors of the documentation? Write it as written in the spreadsheet. The original indicator, I want to say, is this thing. So I'm going to copy this, and let's just go verify this. The original indicator, actually, I think it was the bad3xe69.exe or the bad.exe connection. So let's try the bad.exe connection. Yeah, okay, that is it. What is the full file path of the malicious file downloaded from the internet? And it is this thing. I can't copy this, so I actually have to type it out. So downloads bad3xe69.exe. So that's what it is. Cool, there we go. In the Sigma rule, baddomains.yaml, what is the log source category used by the author? So baddomains.yaml, and then we're looking for our log source category, which is proxy. And that is our log source. Very cool. All right, just like that, we got our unique threat intelligence taken out of the way. So let's talk about publicly generated IOCs. You're feeling proud of yourself for being able to implement detection rules that have an immediate impact on the organization when suddenly news broke out of a 0-day vulnerability. Upon taking a closer look at it, you realize that your organization is directly susceptible to this vulnerability. You don't have to be able to experience everything in order to learn from something. You can learn from other people's experiences or research or learnings. Analogs and analogous, I think that's what that is, analogous to that is the array of research being done by the community, and almost always they release public IOCs. These public IOCs are then transformed into usable mechanisms to detect bad things in the environment. Going back to our previous task, we've leveraged Sigma to transform unique IOCs into product agnostic that we can use regardless of the SIM choice. As this technique shows great promise to the community, there are a number of nice repositories that contain user-submitted Sigma rules that anyone can use. You can plug one directly into the SIM for immediate value, or further edit it for your environment and add even more value. This is a nice exercise. Write a detection rule for these two, transform these publicly generated IOCs into usable alerts for the use in the Elastic Stack and Splunk. And we will do the first one together while you can do the rest on your own. For our purposes, we will be using Uncoder to help with the transformation of these Sigma rules. Uncoder is a nice tool that helps convert Sigma rules and can be immediately used in a SIM. So a recent 0-day vulnerability, Folina MSDT, has a publicly available Sigma rule developed by Huntress's Matthew Brennan. So this is the title, ID, status, description, so on. And then you have the reference, which is the doublepulsar.com that goes directly to the vulnerability. And then you also have the Twitter link as well. The author is Matthew Brennan. Tags are attack execution. Here's where it gets interesting. So you have the log source, which is process creation. And then you also have product being Windows. The detection would be selection 1, which would be an image that ends with msdt.exe. Selection 2 is a command line that contains PCW diagnostic, and selection 3 is a command line that contains these strings right here. So MSDT ID and ID with either a dash or a /. And selection 4 is a command line that contains invoke. So any of those things, right? So selection 1 and selection 4, or selection 2 and selection 3. So selection 1 has to be present, and it could be either selection 4 or these two combinations. So it could be these two combined with selection 1, or it could be selection 1 and selection 4. That's it. So false positives unknown, level is high. Another 0-day vulnerability was the log4j, and we've talked about this in a lot of other videos as well. And it can detect suspicious shells spawned from a Java host process. And the rule looks like so. So you have the title, ID, description, status, author, yada, 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 tags, yada, 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 and then it becomes to the important part. So the log source is going to be the process creation in Windows. Detection is going to be selection, and it has all of these pieces under the one selection. And it's actually still goes. It's literally, this is all under the selection. So it could be ends with any of these things: SHEXE, Bash EXE, PowerShell EXE, C-Script EXE, run DLL32, so on and so forth. And false positives actually have a value here, so legitimate calls to system binaries and company-specific internal usage. So upon navigating to Uncoder, you will immediately see two text boxes as shown below. And make sure that on the left side, the Sigma Lab is selected as shown above. Copy the Folina MSDT Sigma rule contents and then paste it in the left box. Click on the downward arrow and select Last Alert. And click on the Translate button when you're ready. Upon clicking Translate, it shouldn't take long before the results come to the right box. It is important to note that there's no guarantee that transformed Sigma rules will work perfectly straight out of Unicoder or Uncoder. In order to be production ready, you need to do a lot of testing and fine-tuning. What Uncoder essentially offers is generic blueprint and it's up to the user to further improve upon it. All right, so in order for us to be able to answer any of these things, or basically all of these things, we have to go into Uncoder. So let me actually open that up. And then from there, we are going to first use this piece to answer our first set of questions. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go to Uncoder, and on the left side, I'm going to paste all of this code. And that'll be done. And we're going to turn it to a last alert based on what I was told, right? So you're going to go right here. Let's just confirm. Yes, a last alert is it. And then we're going to click translate, and it shouldn't take too long. And now we have this information on the right side right here. So the alert, description, filter, all this is going to be for a last alert in the Lucene language. And this is basically what we got. So it should be fine. Now it says, what is the index of the rule? And the index is right here. So win log beat. And we're going to paste this here. That should be good. And what is the alert subclass as shown in the output? And so we're going to go here, and we want the alert subclass. This is the only portion of this thing that comes under the alert. And I want to say that it's debug is the alert subclass. So let's do that. Very good. Now change the uncoder output to elastic stack query Lucene. And let's see what this piece does right here. So elastic stack query. We got that right there. Very good. Translate this. And it's much shorter. Wow. Okay, so what's the question? It says, which part of the last alert output looks exactly like the elastic query? So this literally looks like an actual query on Elastic Stack. So this looks like the query itself. So it would be process executable, I want to say. I don't know if that's right or not, but let's see. It's not. So what's the hint say? Part refers to either of the following: alert, filter, index name, priority, real alert, and type. I see. It is this piece right here. It's name. So let's try that. No way, really. So okay, fine. Could be UUID, it could be author, it could be any of these things at this point. So let's try UUID, I guess. That's not it either. What is going on here? So part refers to either of the following: alert, filter, index name, priority, real alert, and type. I see. So this is the actual query right here. And I think so it's filter or query in this case that has the actual query in it. So I think it's either filter or query. I think that's what we're looking for. Yeah, that's like the phrasing of this question was kind of weird. But okay, so now we're going to move on to the next one, which is log4j sigma rule, which is going to be this piece right here. So let's go and check this piece out, and we're going to copy this, go here and paste it here, and we're going to translate it. And now that's what we got. So what is the alert severity as shown in the output? And we're doing it we're going to translate it into a Splunk alert. So first let's translate this to a Splunk alert. Yes, cool. Okay, so what is the severity that we're looking for in this particular case? Let's see. Okay, so very important little note here, because I was wondering what was going on. So when you go here, you click on this and it gives you two options. And the one that we want specifically is the alert SPL. What was happening is that we were getting a query SPL, and we want the alert SPL. And so this is what it looks like for alert SPL. And if we zoom in here, there should be something severity right here. So severity in this particular case is going to be 3. Very good. So what is the dispatch earliest time value as shown in the output? So dispatch earliest time is right here, which is going to be this piece. And then we got change the uncoder output to Splunk query SPL. What is this source as shown in the output? So now we're going to go here and we're going to turn it into Splunk query SPL, like so. And then they want the source as shown in the output. So the source is going to be, I mean, damn. I want to say it's win event log, because that whole thing could be win event log security, I think. Maybe that's what it is. Let's see. Yeah, that's it. Okay, great. So we got that, and now we can move on to the next piece right here, and I think we can finally get to use our little machine that we have on the side right here, because I had it loaded for such a long time and we still had not gotten a chance to use it. So time to use the machine. Here we go. All right, so leveraging the environment tripwires. So one way to create immediate impact is to leverage very specific data to your advantage, depending on the environment organization. More often than not, there exist pieces of data that not everyone is entitled to have access to. Usually controls are set by the IT team to limit access. For example, suppose there are ultra-sensitive files in your organization, and it tends to keep it secret, such as hidden treasure maps. In that case, you can set alerts, for instance, that said map has been accessed, edited, deleted, among other things, and then filter out the ones that access to make detections more accessible. So essentially a file. So for example, there's a file or there's a folder that people aren't supposed to access, and then when something happens and somebody tries to access it, that's called a tripwire, right? Tripwire is a great way to supplement the detection mechanisms that you already have in place. It's a way to uncover unknown unknowns and even study an adversary. The most common tripwires are honeypots and hidden files and folders. The way honeypots work is that they serve no legitimate business purpose, so any activity concerning them should raise immediate red flags. Hidden files and folders, on the other hand, are not meant to even be seen by normal end users, and so it works best when dealing with crawlers like worms, making them particularly effective to detect intrusions. So now we're going to actually set up the tripwire. I already have this loaded in my split screen, but we can also RDP into this so we can get access to it via the command line on a Linux machine, for example. But since we already have our virtual machine launched, I'm just going to use the one that's inside of the browser right here. So we can start click the start icon and type local, and then local security policy application should appear. Open the application, then navigate to security settings, local policy, and audit policy. So we are going to click the start icon, and let me see. Of course, it's going to be super slow. Then we're going to type local, and it should bring up our local security policy. Boom, there we go. And then so where we're going is security settings, local policies, audit policy. So security settings, local policy, and then audit policies where we're going. And I guess we're looking for the audit object access, which is this piece. So we're just going to double click that and it'll open it up for us. And so let's see what it says. It says tick the boxes besides success and failure, click apply, and finally click OK. This entails that all access attempts will be logged regardless of whether it is succeeded. Once you're done, you may proceed to close the local security policy application. So let's just do that real quick. So success and failure, okay, and we're done. And then we can close this. So that was that. So basically where we went was the local security policies, and then under security settings we went to local policy, and then we went to the audit policy and audit object access, and we turned on success and or failure, meaning if somebody was successfully able to access it, or if somebody tried to access it but they failed. In both of those instances, we would get notified. After that, we're going to, nothing immediately is going to happen, so we have to specify the actual file or folder that we intend to monitor. And as such, for our purposes, we'll create a fresh file wherein the tripwire setup can be implemented and consequently observed. Right-click anywhere on the desktop, new text document, and a new whatever will appear. And then we can do secret document, right-click the document, properties, security, advanced, and auditing. So we're going to do this. We're going to do new, and we'll do new text document, and then we'll call it a secret document. And then right-click the document, go to properties and security, and then advanced right there, and then auditing. There we go. Okay, cool. So we should now be here. So just so you can see what happened, I'm gonna zoom in here so you can see what's going on. We're gonna go here. We're gonna right-click this. We're gonna click properties. Then we're going to go to security, and then we're going to click on advanced right there, and then this window will come up, and then we're going to go to auditing, and this is where we are right here. I'm pretty sure we're going to add a new audit, so let's not get ahead of ourselves here. So that's the screen that we land on. This is where we go here. So click add, boom, and then select a principal, and there is that. And then this is going to appear. So very good. And so this particular pop-up is where we can specify which users or groups we want to be alerted on whenever they access our secret document. You have a choice to be very granular, but for our purposes, we intend to be general. And so on the text box, write everyone, then press enter. So boom, everyone, and then enter. And so we got everyone, I guess. Oh, right here. Yeah, it does say everyone right there. So we got that. Okay, cool. So once that happens, now it says the principal should now reflect everyone. Permission should now allow granular. Here you can specify all the activities on the secret document that you want to audit. You can toggle the advanced permissions via show advanced permissions. And on the right corner for an even broader selection of activities, click OK when you're done exploring and then click apply and OK the audit entry page. Finally, when we click on OK, on our secret document properties. And important note here is you intend to track multiple files. It's recommended that you have them categorized into folders as to make it easier. At this point, setup is complete and auditing is active for the secret document. Anyone who accesses it will be logged and its details will be recorded in the security event log with an event ID of 4663. So if we look at Google, what does this mean? It says an attempt was made to access an object. That's 4663. That's the event ID that we just got. Okay. This event ID, along with other object access event IDs, can then be filtered and furnished into alerts that would immediately tell your analyst of Tripwires being activated, immediately giving value to the organization's security. More about this can be read here, which is probably, what is this? Ultimate IT Security and ultimatewindowsecurity.com is the website. So we can go through this and look at this. I wonder how this looks like an old website, but I wonder how updated this is. So it's very, very interesting. But I mean, this is good to know. Ultimate Security ID, Ultimate IT Security. I am a little bit dyslexic apparently. Okay, cool. So the full event log view application comes installed on Windows machine. Use it for the following questions. What is the accesses value in the log details when you try reading? Okay, so first, let's do this, and then we'll do read, execute. We're gonna do write, modify, all that, and then let's do full, and we want all of these things. Okay, so I'm gonna do click OK. That's gonna be all good, and then we're gonna click OK, and then we're gonna click OK. So now we have all of the properties for our secret document set up. So now we're going to go here, and then we're gonna go full event. Use it for the following questions. Full event log view. Full event log view. There's no such thing that shows up over here under that name, so I don't know what the hell that's supposed to be. So maybe it's this thing? Yeah, it is this thing. So it's this little thing at the bottom. Okay, so full event log view is the application that we're going to be using for this particular case. I'm just going to bring this down so I can see my secret document here. Now it says, what is the accesses value in the log details when you try reading our secret document via CMD? So we're going to open up CMD and we're going to see what we have in here. We have all of this stuff. So let's go to desktop and let's list this stuff. Okay, there we go. So we have the secret document right here, and so let's type secret document, press that. I literally didn't put anything inside of the secret document, that's why it shows empty. I was wondering why that didn't work. Okay, so the accesses value in the log details when you try reading the secret document via CMD. So I did that, and now I need to find accesses in the log details. Okay, so there are many items in here, and what I had to do is I had to click this magnifying glass search thing right here for find, and then I typed in secret document, and then it found my item right here. And then inside of the bottom section right here, we have access request information, and then we have accesses as one of our pieces right here. And so it says synchronize and read attributes, and that's basically what I got. So it says the access value in the log details when you try reading the secret document. I mean, this is kind of the only thing I found. Is there anything else? This is the only thing I see. So, I mean, Synchronized read attributes is all I got. I don't see anything else that would be under accesses. So let's see if I could maybe do something else, because secret document, when I tried to read it, it didn't show anything. And then I'll just, for shits and giggles, I'm just going to do that and press enter and it'll open it up. So now we should see more things. So let's see. Okay, now I have multiple entries here. So I have the first one, I think, which was this. So you have a bunch of things here. So read data or list directory, read etc, etc, and then you click it again and it gives you more. So accesses read data or list directory. And this I tried multiple ways, right? So I tried to actually type it onto the screen like this, where I did type secret document, and then I just typed the actual name of it. And in Windows command line, you don't use the open keyword to open it. So you just type the name of the thing and it just opens it or runs if it's an executable. And so it opened it up inside the text editor like this. And so now we have multiple instances of this phrase showing up inside of our events. And there is various things. I think this is it. I think it's the read data, or I need to type correctly, or list directory. That's it. Yes. Event ID 4663 is always preceded by. It's the phrasing of the question that is always my issue. So 4663 is always preceded by 4658, I'm guessing. So I literally clicked on event ID and I organized it by number, and then I searched for it again, and then 4663 is preceded by 4658. So 4658, I'm guessing. No, that's not. Okay. What the hell, dude? So another way that we could view this is that 4663 is the attempt was made to access it. 4658 is the handle to an object was closed. And then so if an attempt was made to access it, there's probably another thing. So 4656 is a handle to an object was requested. So it's probably this. So it's like it was first requested, then it was attempted to access, and then it was closed. So we could try to do this one. 4656. Okay, so that makes sense. So 465, and I don't know why it would be organized the way that it is. I feel like 4658, since it's closing the thing, it should be higher than 4663, but whatever. So 4656 is the handle to an object was requested. 4658 is that it was closed, and then 4663 is that an attempt was made to actually access it. So there's that. So now it says what event ID identifies the closure of an object, and that's this one right here. So it's 4658. I think that should be the one. Yeah, there we go. And then event ID 4658 helps determine how long a specific object was open. What description field will you check in between events to be able to do so? So how long it was open, what description field would you check? So let's see what we can find here. Okay, so we are now reading through the ultimate IT security documentation, and so this is where we land on when we click on it. And then at the very, very top, it actually, or not at the very top, but like towards the top, we have this portion right here where it has our specific event IDs of interest here. So, 4656, it was requested, 4658, it was closed, 4660, it was deleted, and 4663, an attempt was made to access it. So 4658 is the one that we're interested in. And if we read through some of these pieces right here, where was it? It was right here. So it says handle ID is a semi-unique, and then it says unique between reboots. So it's kind of the phrasing of this that implies that we're looking for this information. So how long an object was open, what description field to check in between events to be able to do so. So unique between reboots number that identifies all subsequent audited events while the object is open. Handle ID allows you to correlate other events that are logged. So in between events, I would say it's probably that. And then we have it over here as well, handle ID. Yeah, because it's not the process ID. I'm going to say that it's the handle ID. Yes, it is the handle ID. So it's the phrasing of this, right? You got to kind of understand what they're trying to say here. Is they're trying to say it helps determine how long a specific object was open. So you want to know how long it was open, and what description field will you check in between events to be able to do so. So semi-unique between reboots that identifies all subsequent events while the object is open. That it's like literally for me the thing that triggered I'm like, oh, this might be it, was the word between. And this is what they had over here, check in between events, and it was the word between. That was the thing. I was like, oh, maybe this is it. So that's it. Like, it was kind of a lucky guess, but at the same time I was like deductive reasoning to trying to get to the final answer. So that is that. Okay, so now we can move on to purple teaming. And so for this, there's actually a couple of follow-up rooms as well. There's the Tempest room, which I know I haven't done. This is an exercise room. And then we also have the Folina MSDT that I know I haven't done. So there's a lot of stuff that I probably got to do for this. I don't want to get too sidetracked because I do want to finish the SOC Level 2 path before I start going into all these different side things, unless they're absolutely necessary for us to understand something. So for example, the regex room that I did after I started the SOC Level 2 was because it's very important for us to know regex, because we're going to be using regular expressions, you know, all the time. And so that was complementary to the content. When we go through challenges, right? So these are like challenge rooms. The Tempest room, as you can see, like immediately from the top, you see that these are everybody's scores. So this is a challenge room. It doesn't give us information that would help us understand the rest of SOC Level 2, basically. But so purple teaming is the concept here that we're trying to understand. So the idea is simple. If you want to see how your defenses fare against an attack, understand how a certain vulnerability works and what it looks like on the logs, or you simply want to know the extent of your visibility, simulate an attack and then check the results. So blue and red combined would become purple, essentially, right? So the questions are, what are the attacker techniques that you did? Which ones did you detect? And which ones flew under the radar? And this is kind of like an attempt to become a purple teamer, or to go through the exercise as a purple teamer, which is why they have the quick discussion for Tempest and or Folina. So let's just read it. It says, for the Tempest room, the room creator designed a full attack chain and emulated an adversary from start to finish, collecting valuable logs and showcasing detection and analysis tools as the room progresses. This is a classic example of the application of purple team tactics. The goal is to understand how logs will look like when specific attack techniques are being implemented against your environment. Okay. From the Folina room, the room creator focused on the effects and of the exploitation of the vulnerability in the environment, and introduced how reviewing logs and process artifacts complements publicly available IOCs. From these findings, you can furnish alerts from the artifacts you've collected, as well as yada yada yada. So, I mean, I feel like I should do them, but I don't know. I'm gonna finish this video and then we'll see how I feel tomorrow, and if I feel like I should do these rooms in advance. I'm just going to leave the windows open, so just in case I do want to do them, I don't forget about them, whatever. All right, so here's the thing. Fill in the blanks. The Tempest and Folina rooms are examples of leveraging purple team tactics. What CVE is the Folina MSDT room about? So let's actually go into it. Folina MSDT room, and we're looking for CVE. So let's see what we can find in here. Oh, right here. It's at the very, very top. A walkthrough on the CVE 2022. So it's actually kind of recent. 2022. It's 2 years ago. Purple teaming is awesome. Acknowledge me if you can. I do acknowledge you. Very good. And that's it. So that was it for those two things. But I mean, I feel like it is worth it to go through this. So I might just do it. We'll see what we can find later on. So that is it for purple teaming. And we got the recap of the room. So pretty simple. This one was kind of straightforward. We got a chance to actually do some exercises, tactical detection, and then our next room is threat intelligence for this, which is very next room. So that's cool. And that is it for this room. So we went through unique threat intelligence that we were able to gather and what it looks like when you use a sigma rule to create something like this. And then we went through the publicly generated indicators of compromise and how you can use something like Uncoder to actually create specific sets of modifications and rules for different things. So there was Chronicle that was in there, Splunk was in there, Elk was in there. So a lot of different SIMs that Uncoder can just turn a Sigma rule into the specific queries available for the various SIMs that you're using. And then we have the leveraging of the Know Your Environment. That was Tripwires, so how to actually set up Tripwires inside of the Windows directory, which was, the local security policy. You do audit object access, and then you turn it on. And then from there, you actually go and for whatever the object was, you just turn it on so that it gets documented. And that's what we did. And then inside the full event log viewer is where we found the event IDs that were, this is the one that it was attempted to access it. It was the one that it was closed, so on and so forth. And then we talked about purple teaming, and then it has a few rooms that are attached to it. And purple teaming is basically a combination of red team attacks as well as the blue team exercises to try to catch those attacks so that you can get, your security posture up to par. And purple teaming is essentially what happens when there's a pen test that's done, because the red team works with the blue team, and they combine their forces at the end of the exercises to try to fix any vulnerabilities or update the security posture of the company. So that is what that was, and that's pretty much it for the tactical detection room. It's cool. I like the way that it's working so far, and it's setting us up for the more advanced stuff. So we're gonna go through threat intelligence for SOC, which I think is another information intensive room. But then the Sigma, SigHunt, Aurora, EDR, and SOAR, all of those I believe are going to be practical exercises involved, and we're going to do a lot of things instead of just reading through information. So all of these things sets us up for the next series of rooms, which are going to be application heavy. And I, for one, am very excited about that. But that's it for tactical detection. If you learned anything inside of this room and inside of this video, if you've learned anything from this channel, really, I would like to invite you to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that you get notified the next time that a video comes out. And of course, drop a comment and let me know what you thought. If you have any questions, if you want something to be clarified, if you just want to say hi, or if you want to say thanks, I welcome all of those comments. And it would be lovely to see you as a part of our community. We have a steadily growing community, and it's become a beautiful thing to see all the people communicate with each other. There's actually people now helping each other inside of the comments, it's just beautiful to see from my perspective, because I never thought that it would turn into what it has turned into. And we're just getting started. I mean, we've barely gotten started. We're at 3,600 subscribers and change. At 10,000 subscribers, I'm going to do a face reveal. At 100,000 subscribers, I'm going to do an identity reveal. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a nice journey, and it would be really nice to have you as a part of the journey. So I'm super excited. And of course, if you want a little bit more, if you want to advance your education even further, and if you want some extra perks, for example, automations for Python, for pen testing, or for ethical hacking, for CySec or system administration, if you want early access to content, if you want to speak with me directly in our live sessions or ask me any question, the AMAs that we have, the Q&As that we have, there are so many things that we have as perks that we give away to our Hackaholics Anonymous community, and it will be something that it would be an honor. Honestly, it's like my baby. I say this in every video, but this is literally something that I've spent so much time and energy on to make sure that you get really dope value in exchange for your contribution and for your support. This is not something that we just do just to say, hey, give us some money and you'll be considered a supporter. So ask anybody that's actually been a member of this thing. I do respond immediately. I do email back and forth with people. You'll get access to my email, and we come into our Discord server. We have conversations. So it's something, again, that I'm just really, really passionate about, and I would love to see you in the membership community as well. And it will help you tremendously to speed up your learning curve and to give you access to a lot of tools that you can actually use inside of your day-to-day life as well as your job if you want to pursue cybersecurity or system administration. All of the Python automations and all those things are going to make your life easier, and they're just going to make you seem much more functional as a security professional. So all of that being said, I would love to see you in the Hackaholics Anonymous community as well. It's your boy Hank Hackerson at Hank Hacks Hackers, your favorite network and system attacker / protector. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Hope you enjoyed this one. If no one else loves you, Hank loves you, and I will see you in the next room. Later.